What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Start, Build, Grow Show.
JobNimbus is a fully customizable back office solution.
Track leads, jobs, tasks from one easy-to-use software.
And with the largest ecosystem of integrated partners, if we don't do it, we have a friend who does.
Learn how the #1 back office system in roofing
Can help you be efficient, be organized, be professional, and be profitable.
Stop driving job site to job site or texting and emailing photos. Know what's happening across your business. Get started for free today.
Solo and do a little podcast here for you. And this is something that comes up a lot, right? I coach a number of contractors all over the country. I've been in the roofing business a long time. I've built and grown and scaled, my own companies and have helped a lot of other companies kind of build, grow, and scale as well. So, I want to talk about how to scale your roofing business, and we're kind of go into kind of a high level, a couple tips and tricks, just kind of some, overview of what it really takes to kind of set yourself up to be able to scale your roofing business. And first and foremost, I'm not even a huge fan of the word scale anyways. I know it kind of gets thrown out there. It's a big buzzword and everybody's like, scale, scale, scale. I want to scale this, scale that. But first and foremost, I'll tell you, be careful what you wish for, because in a service-based business such as a roofing company, we're not necessarily built, and the business models aren't built to scale at a rapid pace. And maybe in like if you're producing something or if you're in a technology business or something where you have a product that you're creating, that's more of a type of business that I would think fits the whole let's scale fast and scale our business type of model. Whereas a roofing company or a service-based construction business, they're not like that. You don't just create a process or create a product and all of a sudden just scale the heck out of it. Like, it doesn't quite work the same. So when it does come to that, though, I guess if we are going to talk about scaling and growing roofing companies, I think the most important thing that we got to think about first is a concept that I talk about that I believe in, and this is being proactive versus reactive, or better yet, I like to say in sports terms, being playing offense or playing defense. And being reactive or playing defense is reacting to the environment around you, reacting to the changing dynamics of maybe a market or the economy or something like that, or something happens. Let's use a hailstorm for an example, and we may have a certain size business or a certain length and time, and we're at a certain place, and all of a sudden an event such as a hailstorm happens, and all of a sudden there's this huge increase in demand, and therefore we have to scale our businesses really fast. So we're playing defense. If we don't have if we're not prepared, if we haven't built processes, if we haven't created kind of a roadmap for scaling in the event of a hailstorm or a hurricane or tornado or something like that, we end up playing a lot of defense. But here's the reality. We're going to play some defense regardless, because you can't prepare for absolutely everything. It's just, I don't believe that that's even possible. But there's a lot of things you can do now to then prepare yourself. And when I first got in and started my roofing company, I had recently, been a part of a company that scaled really, really, really fast, and they grew tremendously over the year and a half that I was there. So I got into the business, doing roofing sales. Massive hailstorm hits my market. This company, I get on with them as a roofing salesperson. Didn't really know much about the industry at the time, and I was one of the salespeople, and all of a sudden there's just more salespeople and more salespeople and more salespeople and more. So the next thing I know, I was one of 50, 60 sales reps in a short period of time. And then all of a sudden, production, billing, all these things in the business just became absolute chaos. And it was total chaos. And it was really challenging to navigate all that. And I get it from the owner's perspective. You got to try to get what you can and maximize the business. But, after being a part of that, and I decided to go off on my own and start my own company, I took the lessons I learned from being a part of it and watching that happen and tried to apply that to my own business. And what I mean by that is, one, I always told myself that I knew that there was going to be another opportunity. There's going to be another weather event in my market similar to what I experienced as a sales rep working for another company at some point. Whether it's this year, next year, 3 years, 5 years, whatever that was going to be, I was like, there's going to be that again. I'm just betting on that. At some point, there's going to be another hailstorm. So kept that in mind as I started my business. And everything I did when I was intentional about, building and creating the business was trying to set myself up with the question of, when that event happens, am I going to be able to capitalize on it and make the most of it? So that's the premise of what we're talking about today. And first and foremost, I had to build a brand quickly. Okay. And so many of us want to kind of skip this step, or we don't want to invest the money it takes to build a brand. And, if we're trying to set ourselves up for scale, we have to know that we're going to be investing in the long-term longevity of the business. And in order to do that, we got to focus on branding. So the first step is branding/marketing. And on the branding side of things, I knew as a new company in a big market, I knew I had to, try to, do things quickly to kind of get my name out there, get our brand out there. So I was very intentional about the color scheme and the slogans and our mission, vision, values, and like what that brand represented at a deep level. And then I was able to portray that and articulate that with anyone that I brought involved, or anyone that I hired or subcontracted or used to help me build the marketing and build the brand for the organization, starting with a website. We made lots of mistakes early on the website, but when we redid and we figured it out, we knew that we need to put a good amount of money towards that and focus on doing the AdWords and doing all the things to get the Google reviews to really start the process of building up a website. That is not a fast process. It's a long process, but you got to start that right away, because that's a huge brand advantage once you get to a point where you're a highly, reputable company. You have a lot of reviews. You got a lot of exposure online. And when customers are looking you up, they see that, and it really reinforces that brand. So we got to make sure we have a good digital presence, from social media to the website. And you got to invest in that, and know that it's not going to give you a direct, right now, immediate ROI, but it's going to pay you off in dividends over and over time. And the next thing was, I didn't have a ton of money, but I knew that, hey, can I at least get one truck wrapped? Let's get one vehicle wrapped, and let's get something out there where the people can start seeing our brand, seeing our image. And the psychology behind that is humans need to see something 7 times before they actually can recognize a brand or remember that brand. So you need 7 impressions before it's going to be a recognizable brand. So I knew the more I can get that brand, that color scheme, the logos, and the brand of the company in front of people, it's going to help that process. So just some things to think about as you're really starting to set yourself up to scale your business. You got to invest in the brand. Then you got to invest in marketing. Okay, the cheapest, easiest way to market yourself is knock some doors. But what we did was we started with knocking doors, and then we also got connected with networking groups and really started to, get to know a lot of people and in getting to know a lot of people. That was a great way for people to know who we were and what we were up to and what we were doing. I had to, shift from my past career into being a roofing contractor, and I needed to make sure that every single person that I knew, whether it was just through social media or through my church or through family, friends, school, college, whatever it was, I needed to make sure that everybody I knew that I was in roofing, that I had a roofing company, that we do roofing. And everyone in your organization needs to have that same mentality. It permeates, it grows, and the more people that know who you are, the more people associate with your company, more people that work for your company, that just kind of compounds itself and multiplies. So that's another way to kind of build that brand and market yourself. Knock doors. That's how it starts. Then we need to make sure to get involved in networking groups, get involved with centers of influence. Okay, these are referral partners, and based on your market, whether it's a hailstorm or it's a retail environment, you have to figure out who in your market can be a direct source to recommend and refer you business. And that's different in lots of different markets, but that's the question for you. Who in my market is going to be a catalyst to recommend me to do roofing? Who needs my services? Maybe it's a home inspector, maybe it's real estate, maybe it's insurance agents, maybe it's property managers. You got to think about your market and put effort there. This is free. This is just your time and effort building relationships. So those are the things that we're doing early on to market ourselves. And then we want to think of marketing channels. Are we doing direct mail, door knocking, maybe some radio ads, maybe some Facebook ads, some social media ads, maybe some AdWords, those sort of things. You got to be able to set yourself up for that. Create a plan for yourself. Figure out a budget for yourself, and you're especially if you're early on, you're just getting your business going, or you've had a business for a while. Look back and see what you've spent in the past on your marketing. Think about what your goal is to try to grow the business, and then use the numbers to give yourself a budget to then plan for marketing, and then stick to that budget. Invest the proper money into the marketing and branding of your business. Create a budget, execute. Next part is production, right? Well, let's skip production. We'll go to production, but sales, right? So we have to be able to scale our sales team, our sales department. Many of us, like in my case, I was the first salesman of the company. I brought on a business partner. We both sold roofs. We started hiring salespeople and canvassers right away to try to get more sales in the business. I knew that was the way to do it, but I also didn't realize how expensive that is. Giving draws, paying for canvassers, paying for all these. You're spending a lot of money up front to try to grow your sales. Just know that. Have a budget for that. And if you're going to grow your sales department, the key there is, and again, we're talking about setting yourself up to scale your business. The key there is you must have a sales process, a step-by-step process to follow. Okay, there's a lot of resources out there, not just us here at the Roofing Academy. We do have a very good training program and a step-by-step process that we teach our salespeople and that a lot of our clients use to teach their salespeople. But this is a great foundation. This is not the be-all, end-all of growing your sales department. And here's the thing. There's no easy button. You're not just going to hire a coach, or you're not just going to come to the academy or get some online course and tell somebody, hey, come over to my company, go watch this video or this series of videos, and you're going to be a great salesperson. A leader has to be invested. You have to be invested in the growth and development of your sales team. Best way to start that, build that foundation, is to create that sales process. It must be duplicatable, it must be repeatable, and it must be teachable. Somebody has to teach the salespeople how to follow that process, because you will not scale your business if you don't have a duplicatable sales process. You have to be able to hire salespeople, plug them into the process, train them, get them opportunities and leads, or teach them how to get opportunities and leads, and then nurture them and coach them and develop them to be successful. That's the sales process. That is the overview of how to build out a sales department to set yourself up to scale. Now let's dive back into the production side. Okay, so we built our brand, we got some leads, we built a sales team, we're growing our sales team, and sales are happening, roofs are coming in, and we are now getting ready to start producing. Probably the single most important process that you have to have in place in order to scale and set yourself up to scale your business is the transition between sales and production. You've probably, if you've been following me or listening to my podcast, or if you're a member or listen to any of my videos or talk to me or done consulting with me, that I talk about this all the time, but I'll continue to talk about it because it's that important. The transition. We call this the pass off, the sales to production pass off. You have to create a checklist of every single piece of information that the production department needs from the sales department. That sales department has to check all the boxes. The production department has to recheck all the boxes just to make sure that all the information is there. From a perspective of, if I'm the production person and I'm ordering materials and scheduling crews and doing all the things to produce the job, I don't want to have to make one single phone call to the salesperson to ask them for information. That's what you have to ask yourself. Can your production person handle 5 times more work than they have right now? If they had that amount of work, what would happen? What would break in your business? Start by building out that handoff process from sales to production. And then when it comes to production, this is just a formula. It's a formula of, building a cadence for checking jobs, ordering materials, pulling permits, scheduling crews, and being able to react and have field support in there and running materials and build yourself a cadence. And we have a whole entire course and a whole, SOP built out internally for our company, as well as with the Roofing Academy. We're able to kind of really coach and train this aspect of the business. So you have to start with that process, that handoff process, and you got to have a production coordinator, production manager, production coordinator, call it what you want it. But for me, I like to look at it as a coordinator, because really what their job is to coordinate information and to be a communication hub between the homeowners, the crews, the staff, the salespeople. Their job is to be that hub, that communication hub, to get a lot of things done at any given time and funnel all that information through one source. That's going to give you the best chance to kind of scale this up. And then you can add layers in and add, more people, production assistants, and start breaking out the tasks into different roles once you get to scale. But you got to have that person. And the key there is, this doesn't have to be somebody that has umpteen years of roofing experience. They don't need to have 20, 30, 40, whatever, however many years of roofing experience. A lot of us think that we need the most experienced person in the world to be our production manager. It's not true. You can have you need great experience to do quality control, service, repair work, installs, like managing crews out in the field. But you need someone who's very good and very organized at the helm of your production department. Okay, so that's what we need to do. We need to find somebody that can be very organized to help build this system. Again, we're scaling. We're trying to scale our business. You got to have a system to rinse and repeat. Okay, if you do the same thing to roof 3 jobs a week that you do to roof 3 jobs a day, to roof 6 jobs a day, you have to think of it that way. If I can follow this process and duplicate and rinse and repeat, that's going to set myself up for scalability in my production department. Next thing is money. Okay, invoicing, billing, the financial side of the business. Okay, we sell, we build, collect. At its core, that's what roofing's all about. You sell, you build, you collect. You sell, you build, you collect. You do that as many times as you can, and you put yourself in a position to scale that up and do a whole bunch of them, and that's how you build a great business, and that's how you make money, right? At its core, that's the idea. But collections, not just collections, but finance. The first thing, you must have job costing in place. Okay, as you're producing, as you're building these jobs, and you're setting yourself up to scale these jobs, every single project, every single piece of information when it comes to costs of your job must be tied to that job specifically. We order materials, they need to be tied to the job. We have labor, it must be tied to the job. Everything should have a job number, right? You have all these CRM systems and all these tools in place to do that. So to some of you, this may be like, well, duh, I know that. Learned it in Business 101, but some of you might not be doing this properly. And the reality of it is, there's a lot of roofing contractors that don't job cost at all, or they don't job cost properly. And if you don't do that properly and you scale your business, you set yourself up to have no clue what kind of actual profitability you have in your business. And if you're losing money, you won't even know until it's too late. You must have your books in order. QuickBooks, you need to have a QuickBooks program. You must build a really solid chart of accounts, which is going to help you understand all of your fixed costs. You must know your run rate and your overhead and your fixed costs. And then you must have great job costing per job, labor, materials. Maybe there's some ancillary permitting. Maybe there's some ancillary things like if you supplement team, or if you're taking credit cards, there's a credit card fee associated. As much as you possibly can attach to that job, you need to attach those expenses to that job. Make sure you're doing that properly. That's the foundation for the financial piece. And then at the end of it is another key oversight, here. And I can do a whole podcast on each one of these. And by the way, we are doing a webinar, so it's gonna be a lot longer than this podcast. We're gonna dive into these a little bit more and show you some good images and really show you some processes here. We're gonna do a webinar here coming up shortly, so make sure in the comments or click the link below to join us on that webinar. It's a free webinar. We're gonna dive in deep on all these components of the business to kind of take this to another level versus this kind of like high level overview I'm giving you today. Also, we're going to be doing a one-day workshop in Denver, Colorado, and that is coming up September 29th. And you can also get on a waiting list. So click the link below. You can get on a waiting list to check that out. The space is limited. Very, very minimal cost. It's going to be very minimal cost. We're just doing this purely because we want to help our industry. We want to provide this information to the loyal listeners of the show, as well as some of our members and some other people that we've been able to connect that really take this stuff to heart. They really want to set themselves up for scalability and success. So I digress. Finances. The key here is you got to understand the concept of time when it comes to your finances and collections of jobs. The moment a job goes into production and the moment you start incurring costs, a clock starts ticking, okay? We have to be aware of when that clock starts ticking all the way through the process to when we receive and recognize the final payment and recognize the profit of that job. That timeline is the biggest differentiator in successful, profitable roofing companies making good money and executing at a high level, or companies that get way over their head and get way upside down financially and can see financial ruin. Everyone knows or has seen of companies that seemingly come out of nowhere to scale up and grow their huge company, and then all of a sudden the next year, the next 2 years, they're gone, they disappear. I believe this is a big reason of that. They don't have a great collection system in place, and they don't pay attention to the time it takes to collect your money. We call this days sales outstanding. Analyze your production, analyze your whole process, and figure out how to shrink that timeline to then close and recognize your profit, and also pay attention to your profitability. Again, this is high level here, but if I can give you one piece of advice, look at the timeline and figure out and pay attention to how fast you're able to close jobs and recognize that profit. And here's the key. As you analyze every single job, remember we're job costing properly, and then we're closing the job out, and then I can analyze that specific job to tell me how profitable that job was. Compare that to your overhead and what you need to operate to then grow, so then you leave yourself a margin to actually make some profit, and that's going to give you the formula to help set you up to scale that business and to know what margin you need to be targeting and what margin you need to be selling roofs at. The final component here is the people component, okay? You're not scaling your business by yourself. We all know this. Humans are all wired a little bit differently. We all have different personal styles. We all have different personalities and different likes, dislikes, God-given talents, if you will. And it's our job as leaders to try to build a team of people, first and foremost, that fit the culture, the values, and the brand and fit within the company, within the organization. If they don't fit, that's not going to work. We have to make sure we're doing that intentionally and building our culture intentionally. We don't just throw a bunch of people in our business and throw a bunch of people at problems and hope that we have a great culture. Identify what kind of culture you want, and it starts with the owner. It starts with the mission, the vision, the values that the owner puts together to create the business. And it's the owner, it's the leader's job to then portray that and be intentional about hiring people that fit within that culture. Start there. Make sure everyone in your organization is a great culture fit, but you want different styles. You want different types of personalities. And there's multiple different, what we call working geniuses. There's a great book you can look up called The 6 Working Geniuses from Patrick Lencioni if you want to get a good idea of this. But everybody has a different working genius, things that they're really good at, things that they're okay at, things that they're not good at. We want to build a team of people that fit within all the different, personality traits, all the different geniuses, and that's going to set us up for the best ability to then grow. Because the thing is, growing and scaling is about problem solving at its core. It's about problem solving. Leaders, great leaders, what do? We solve problems. And if we can build a team of people that can all solve problems together, that's how we scale our business with a personnel perspective. Salespeople are going to have a completely different personality than a production person, than an admin, than the owner possibly, and then the bookkeeper, the CFO, those sorts of things. So that my tidbit, my piece of advice for you, if you're going to try to scale, is analyze your team. And if you have a team of a whole bunch of people that are the exact same type of person, type of personality, that's not I don't believe that's setting yourself up for scalability. So what we have to do is look at bringing on people that are different. That's going to kind of balance out the culture and balance out the working environment to where we can all work together to achieve certain things. So there's a few tidbits and few things to really think about if you're really looking to scale your business. Okay. I would much rather you think about these things and start working on these things now versus wait for when the storm hits or when the opportunity hits and then try to build it all on the back end. You're going to have to play defense and you're going to have to build things on the back end when you get the storm, when things happen. That's just part of life. That's going to happen. But if we can be proactive now and play as much offense as possible to have these systems in place to then scale up, when you got to plug holes in the boat, they're a lot smaller and a lot fewer and farther between. It becomes a lot easier and a lot more fun to build and scale a business when you do your best to try to anticipate these challenges. And when they come, you're going to solve these problems. You're going to fix things a lot quicker. If you don't, and you just look at what's in front of you each and every day, and you don't step back outside and start looking at the bigger picture and start forecasting 1, 2, 3, 4 years down the road, you're going to have a difficult time. You're not going to be able to scale your business without people, without process, and without a great culture and a great value set. So as to quick little recap here, we start with brand. Invest in your brand. Make sure you have a great brand, knowing that that's going to pay dividends many times, pay it forward and pay for itself many years to come. Focus on the brand and invest in marketing. You got to get leads, right? We got to start that process. Create a sales system, create a sales process to follow, or contact us. We can give you a great example and help you do that. Then what we have to do is we have to build a great production process. We have to be able to produce jobs and scale up and produce a lot of jobs at once and keep a really high quality. We must make sure that we're collecting and our invoicing and our books and our back office is dialed in. We are running our business by the numbers. You heard the cliche, but I can't tell you how important it is to run your business by the numbers. So you want to make sure to run your business by the numbers. And this is probably the most important thing in business, because without knowing the numbers, who knows whether you're making money and you're going to go out of business if you don't do it right? And this is also probably the best thing for you to think about when you're thinking about hiring or investing in a business coach or a CFO or outsourced CFO or a consultant or bookkeeping consultant or whatever it is. Whether it's our team, we have an incredible financial team that can help you build the entire back office and books and all the things in your business, or somebody else. But this is where you want to invest in outsourced quality professionals to help you make sure you're building a great back office for your business. Like me, most of us in the industry, if you're like me, you didn't come from a financial background. You weren't formally educated on how to run books and how to, understand P&Ls and balance sheets and all those things. Hire a professional, hire a team, hire somebody, invest in that, because it's going to pay dividends for years and years to come. Finally, the people, right? Put the right people in the right seats, make sure it's a great culture fit, and make sure you understand personalities. And there's lots of different assessments and things and tools that you can use to then to kind of be a little more scientific and intentional about getting the right people in the right seats. So hopefully that was some good advice. I hope you are scaling. I hope you're building an amazing brand. I hope you can take some cool things from this. And I also want to invite you to join us. Click the link below. You can join us for a webinar that we're going to dive deeper into this stuff. And then also after that, we're also going to be doing a one-day workshop to really just, really level up and dive deeper and deeper and deeper into all these things. And by all means, if you have any questions or you want to talk more about it, reach out to me. You can click the link below. You can find me pretty much on any social media site. You can email me, randy@theroofingacademy.com. And also, as always, if you're new to the show, maybe this is the first time you've seen or caught one of our episodes, we have, 250 something episodes of the Start, Build, Grow show. It's so much content. Usually I have guests and they're a little bit longer of a show, but I want to make sure to invite you to subscribe. If you liked what you heard here today, share it. Share it out with your friends. Share it out with somebody that you think might get some benefit from it. As always, so goes the business. If the business is going to grow, the leader must grow. Grow as a leader, then you're going to set yourself up to grow your business. Take care, everybody. Thanks for listening. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, comment. I can't wait to interact with you. Have a great day. God bless.